Hello. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Calling EU, episode 10. Ring ring, hello. Man, I don't know where I just suddenly got this burst of energy from because I am super tired. But regardless, I've got two good friends. Not just awesome people, some good friends. I've got Dylan and I've got Rob Catton. You guys have seen them before on previous episodes. Guys, how you doing?
I'm Dylan, you go.
Yeah, go on.
I'm good, yeah. Just Pro Quest season and kind of getting used to Aurora LLing.
Yeah.
Qualified for Singapore, so excited for that.
Yeah, it is. It's definitely a shake-up for sure. How about you, Rob? How's the Pro Quest season been doing for you?
Yeah, I managed to win one with OTK Florian, which I'm glad about because it means I can save my PTI. I like having one, at
Yeah.
least just one in the back pocket for when you might not qualify for something. So not having to use that in Singapore is nice.
Yeah. It's like a savings account, isn't it? Like, just got money in the bank, you're all good, and you manage to go, cool, I tell you what, got a nice juicy bonus, don't have to bust into my savings for Christmas. Yeah. Fair play. Did you I didn't. Dylan, did you? Did you grab any PQ wins?
Yeah. I won on mid-range Florian, not the OTK one.
Okay. I mean, I've played both, and it's interesting. I think that's a sort of. I wonder if he'll sort of transform into something a little bit somewhere in between. I don't know, but I'm actually genuinely very curious whether Florian's hold on the meta will persist now that Aurora's gone. Actually, this isn't a topic. I'm just going to come out with just a little fun side topic. What do you guys think? Aurora's now gone. Do you think Florian's actually going to hold? Rob?
I don't think so. I would have. I've got progress coming up this weekend, and I don't see how you could play mid-range Florian because it's like it's bad into Syndra. You can't beat like an OTK Florian. And he has other awkward matchups like I don't think you can beat Verdant either. Yeah, riddled with bad matchups.
Yeah, I do agree.
Yeah.
I do agree. Like it's that weird spot of like but what about OTK? I don't think OTK is gonna settle very well either, in my opinion.
No, I don't think OTK is very good either. There's just a lot of two blocks in the deck, and then I think Wizard's gonna have an uptick as well, and I think the Tiara package kind of gets unsuspecting Wizard players, but kind of those who are prepared will have like potions, double wildfire set up.
Are we in the Kano meta? Is that what we're really saying?
I think so.
Yeah. Oh. Wild times. Anyway, there you go. There's a mini fun segment for everyone. But let's get to the real bits. So, Dylan, do you want to kick us off with your topic for today?
Yeah, so kind of going on from that Aurora point, like how the meta will change, I want to talk about the LL system, mostly how it's kind of, I feel that it's a really cool concept, but in practice, it kind of forces metas or kind of how does the design aspect of the game kind of come in to the LL system? Like, I know LSS were saying things like they expected certain decks to LL at a certain time. Does that mean that the LL system doesn't really matter if they have these kind of like calendar there's kind of set up?
Okay, right. So, not a fan of the Living Legend system, or is it? Is that where you're
Uh,
leaning
I,
towards?
I think it's cool in concept, but in practice, it leads to a lot of flaws, like obviously waiting for Starvo before the first PT is it legal or not, and then waiting to see if Zen was legal for London or not. But as well, kind of if we have these expected dates for things to LL, are we really kind of getting the full potential out of the decks while they're here? Like, I know in kind of other card games, you're given like 5 years with a deck, and it's kind of left to be experimented with. And if we look at the life cycle of a deck like Lexi, we see it go from this kind of ice build to this like no element to then this kind of lightning press kind of build to get over like fatigue oldham and stuff near the end. Like kind of, are we seeing everything a deck has to do within the time frame that's given in the LL system?
Okay. I mean, I've got a lot to say, both positive and negative. Rob, have you got anything?
I think the first thing that sprung to mind when you were talking is like, I don't really know what you would do instead, because
Yeah.
it's not like you could have, like, if you imagine right now, like Starvo and Chain and Prism being legal, like, we wouldn't even be talking about Syndra or Florian. Imagine Florian playing against like Chain or something like that, or Starvo. Like, so obviously them decks can't be legal at the same time as these other decks, and obviously like design things have changed as well. Like, power level is generally a lot lower.
Yeah.
But I don't know exactly what we would do instead. I mean, I guess Dylan, you're saying it would be a more defined period of time rather than whenever a deck wins enough.
Sure. So in short, what you're saying is that this is out. This will be here for a year or two, and no matter what,
like
it's gone. Good or bad?
Yeah, would a classic rotation system from like any other game be better than in the LL system?
Yeah, I mean,
like-
yeah. There's some good and bads, right? For sure. But I tell you what, I think you're totally right about the Living Legend stuff about when it comes to Pro Tours, is this in or is this out, right? We've had, I don't actually truly remember about the Oldham one, because I think Oldham was like not on the cards. Michael Feng won, and then suddenly Oldham was on the Starva. Yeah, but that was a bit different then, wasn't it? It wasn't weekly. It was every ban and restricted announcement. So Starvo.
Yeah, but people didn't know if he would be legal for the event, like because the LL points were being published during the bans. Like, that's what I remember. And then the Zen issue was.
I don't remember a Starvo ever being a thing of will he make it to Pro Tour. I think everyone was kind of comfortable that he was going to go to Pro Tour, and then we were all betting on will he LL from the Pro Tour. He didn't. So then the Pro Quest season straight after that was basically a Starvo and Chain farewell tour, which was again a little bit. It was very different because he was just going, you know what, I'm just gonna just continue raking up all these points needlessly. And it was actually one of my favourite seasons, to be fair. I absolutely loved that, playing Chain into Starvo. Again, which will come into your topic, Rob, about the aggro versus, asymmetrical stuff. But all that, yeah. In my opinion, I think the only thing that ever came up that was like, ooh, is it, was Zen. Like, and then Aurora. They're like the only ones that was, and maybe even Zen, because it was so near a Pro Tour. So to me, I feel like it's a story that happened in that moment, but there's like 33 heroes, and we're not really getting to that point. It's not like common enough for me to kind of go, this is an issue. Let's fundamentally change everything. I think it's just more of a, this may happen. It may happen. And if it does, it does, that I don't find it like too radical, if that makes sense. The thing I love about the Living Legend system is that I love the fact that the community is banning things. Not, hey, we've got this, and then high above. I mean, you guys know from Magic, and I know enough from other card games that it was just the industry standard to go, yeah, the guys above, a couple of guys above, they say no. And we all know why, but they just say no, and you kind of go, right, I don't know how much sort of control I've got. Why would I want to invest into a hero that LSS can just say no to? Or why would I buy into something that's bad? And I just go, well, in 2 years, unless they bother their butt, why would I bother? Because it's just going to go. Right? He will go in 2 years. Who cares? I won't buy it. But now that he won't go, and the community are going to dictate by the amount of events and the amount of times people are going to play it, the community will decide if people are going to go or not. It kind of makes you go, a bit more informed of if I'm going to buy into a very, very strong hero, it's going to go this way, right? So there's enough warning, I suppose, for people to choose how they want to purchase things. Now, don't get me wrong, Aurora is nuts. That was that's a bad story. Let's not cut to the crap here. It was really bad. It's probably I don't think people underestimate how bad it was. Is that I think it is on the Starvo level of bad. It came out 7 months. Here it is in Rosetta. 1 set later, it's gone. That's quite ludicrous. Like if you it makes Enigma and Zen, it pales in comparison to Enigma and Zen. Like at least they came out the set before, and we knew they were strong, and it was deliberate. And it's so deliberate. But this one was like, oh no, we've got an onboarding system, and then here's this Armoury deck. Here's the first strikes gone. Like that's not the Living Legend. I don't know if that's Living Legend System's fault. I think it's just LSS's fault. Just pushing it, and I called it on Twitter, and everyone called me wrong. And then Brian Gottlieb, which it's that one time when you say something. Sorry, I'm waffling on. You guys you can weigh in. I just said, why didn't they just bang Flipper Wisp? And I know it's not going to make the deck. Like, it would still be good, right? But do you think she'd actually get 46 wins without Flicker Wisp?
Well, she'd definitely get fewer.
Yeah, a few. Yeah.
Like she'd win more. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's the problem, isn't it? Have you ever seen a ProQuest where you saw 46 wins from anyone other than Starvo? No. Not even Lexi got that.
I think I think, like you said, it's maybe not the fault of the system. It's the fault of the meta game in a way, I guess, because it would have. She's too strong for the meta game in the same way that Starvo was, and it would have been nicer if she would have had more of a challenge from like some of the other decks. Maybe like Florian had one more Majestic that was like a. So when you think of Florian, you think of Felling and Plow Under, and then the third card you sort of like, what's the next best thing he actually does?
There is
Run and Conquer.
No, it's his hero ability, being Mordred Tide. That's...
Think about Aurora, it's like, Arc Lightning, Burn Up Shock and Channel, and Gone in the Flash, and stuff like that. There's just so many good cards in that deck. And then Serenade as well.
Serenade completely being a when you find out that's a misprint.
Yeah.
It would have been an awful card. It's almost like part of me, like 10% of me, doesn't actually believe that it was a mistake because of just how bad that card would have been.
Yeah.
And not a new player friendly thing at all. Because like a new player could very easily play that version of the card and go, I'll do embodiment and go get a Skizzik, and then the opponent's like, your turn's over if you do that.
Yeah, there's basically you pick. You go, well, I Windmill Slam go again, and then basically you just pick Skizzik and go again, right?
Like I see their intention was it's the same as the blue that came out in that deck. The one that
I don't remember what it's called. Yeah,
written in the stars. Yeah,
the blue block free. Yeah.
Yeah, like if you play it with Arc Lightning and then play it, you're kind of getting to pick 2 modes. Is their idea, because Arc Lightning will give the next action in general go again.
Yeah, I mean, it probably. I don't know. I think it was like, it's strong, but I was a little bit like, I don't know. I think if you just you could have kept that card the way it is and just ban Flicker Wisp and.
Yeah, Brian did say that he regrets. He said the reason why they didn't want to do it is because they felt like they were banning too much. Which is interesting that he said that, because I didn't feel like that.
I don't think they ban enough.
Yeah, I was like, there was a point when you guys did an emergency ban, but that emergency ban was Bonds of Ancestry back in Misfell because Zen was insane, and then you did a book banning, which was
and Needles.
And but Needles wasn't really an emergency book ban. That was just you got us because I think we mate best, and then like made that video with Needles, and then everyone kind of went, yeah, we know. So they went, okay, you figured it out. So that wasn't too much of an emergency ban, but that I honestly just thought, bro, like I think if you turn around and put the emergency ban on, like out of any time you should have done it, this was definitely the right time to do it. You've just brought out an Armoury product, and it's not. It's days old. Yeah. It's just days old at this point. Like that would make total sense. I was just kind of head scratching, going, I don't get it. So, but just to loop this back around to Living Legend system, yeah, bad story, right? I also think it's I personally think it's quite radical to come around and go like, let's consider not doing it. I'm thinking it's one of the reasons I don't know about everyone, but it's one of the reasons I wanted to play the game. I thought it was really cool. I think it's cool. Things are cool, and it's worth pursuing. And geez, there was worse times with Living Legend, like terrible worse times with it. I thought, and I feel like we're in a groove now with it, and it just it feels a bit silly to turn around and kind of bonk it on the head again. I don't know.
No, I don't think. One thing I noticed, which was interesting, someone said, I saw someone in like a Facebook thread or something, was saying like about, they said they're going to print another Lightning Rune Blade, like, oh, is Aurora's coming back in next year or something like that?
Yeah.
And someone said it's not actually like her hero power is insane or anything like that. It's a card pool. And one thing I was like, oh yeah, and then I was thinking like the specialization Arc Lightning, like if it wasn't Aurora that came out, say there's a different Lightning Rune Blade, with just some random other ability, not being able to play Arc Lightning, like I thought it was quite cool that like specialization cards like sort of help the Living Legend situation, because like you've got Vincent can't play Soul Reaping and stuff like that, and you might print another non-Prism Illusionist in the future who can't play ALS because it's a specialization for Prism as well, and like it's a nice way of like reusing the card pool but sort of dropping some of the more powerful things.
See, that's like the issue I have with the system is kind of either it works very well or I feel it really has flaws, because there's kind of two arguments I have. One is against that specialization take, is because let's just say new LLs, and then they release the new Mystic Assassin and Mask of Recurring Nightmares is there. I feel like you can just build the same new deck, and then because you'll get a different hero ability, but the card pool will be the exact same besides the Sacred Art, but then you don't have the new hero ability, and it could possibly even be stronger.
Yeah, that's true. But then, you're right. And there is a world where I think it's just like, look, they printed Tales of Aria, man. That set was like crackers. And they put out the most insane stuff like Seeds of Tomorrow and Winter's Wail and Voltaire, and just like, okay.
At the time, it did not seem it seemed normal.
That's because everything was juiced.
We were just coming off the back of like Chain and Prism, so like it felt normal.
Yeah. That's another topic as well. Like, do you prefer? And I suppose we know this because we did the Battle Hardened in London. Do you prefer things juiced up or not? And I just feel like, I don't know, man. If everything's like really, really, really strong, like you just got some guy that can just go, look, I can windmill 40 damage, and then some guy goes, yeah, but I can just windmill like boom to a no. And you go, oh, okay. And then, so, like, do you know what I mean? There's multiple windmill turns on either side. Or do you prefer it a bit more fair?
I guess on that scale, you've got on one end, you've got the Stubby Hammer's Fi with like the Strip Fi.
Well, that's like ludicrous.
And on the other end, you've got like the Heavy Hitters metagame where it's like Kasai and like, I'm going to block you for 8, I'm going to attack for 7. Like that's personally, I don't like it when it's so. I don't like it because the thing is, when they ban all these powerful attack cards, it's never like they're banning cards that like Sink Below, they're always banning cards that kill people quickly, and they leave all the defensive options. And I don't like, as we'll talk about maybe a bit later, I don't like it when defense is so much better than offense. I don't think that makes for a good game.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Well, comment below, anyone, if you have any. You probably have some takes. It is kind of hot topic at the minute, and if you haven't checked the dev talk out that Flesh and Blood did or LSS did, you should. It's really good. It's kind of humbling. I like their honesty. Actually, what did you guys thought to the dev talk? Did you thought it was just kind of nice or a bit over the top, or what's your thoughts, Dylan?
Yeah, I thought it was good. Like, taking accountability is always good. I kind of wish I know they spoiled the misprint on Twitter after the dev talk. I would have been interested to hear kind of more direct thoughts there. That would be my only criticism.
I think they kind of. Oh, sorry, go on. What are you gonna say, Rob?
I thought it was interesting. The tone of Brian's tweet was sort of like, "Oh well, as we're talking about it, here's the screenshot sort of thing." I heard like the vibe I got was, or maybe I'm not sure if it was a vibe or maybe I heard this, but like James White seemed like he was the one who outed that situation. Like he was the one who, in the dev thing, he's the one who brought it out, sort of thing. And then it felt like Brian was going, "Well, I didn't really want to talk about this, but my boss has just told everyone, so I guess we're doing."
Yeah, it had that vibe to it, but I think they kind of, I think they kind of safely. I think Brian's like, oh, okay, I wasn't gonna. All right, well, you're the boss. Let's go. It's not my.
Yeah, it was fine.
It was fine. It like even if they did I was shocked they even brought it up because I think all of us just went. I mean, it looked reasonable. Like, card looked like good. Not, I didn't know it was busted.
Yeah, I think Serenade was fine.
It was fine as it was. I thought. Yeah.
It was a 0 for 4 with extra steps kind of deal.
Which is what the deck was.
0 for 4 go again, but it has a downside. That seems fair. There's plenty of them, right?
Yeah, block for 2. Yeah, fair enough. No,
one thing that irks me is, I saw Andrea Mengucci tweet like saying, "Oh, I'll always remember you 0 for 6," because obviously he's referencing Arc Lightning.
Yeah,
it's like you don't get to call it a 0 for 6 because you can call it 0 for 5, fine.
Yeah,
but Arc Lightning is dealing the damage, so like that is a card that is.
Yeah.
You can't ignore the fact that Arc Lightning is the thing that's dealing the damage. But
yeah,
people do that.
0 for 2 and a 0 for 4 glued together.
It's like Liam says. Liam at one point when he was trying to sell me on Sizzle in Aurora, he was like, "It's insane. It's a 0 for 5 with Tunic," and I'm like, "No, Starfall is doing 2 of that damage. It's not like you can ignore the fact that Starfall is like chipping in some help there."
Yeah, Flesh and Blood player math. Yeah, I think I know what you mean. It's like, yeah, when I turn and say, "Oh God, look how crazy!" What's it? It's been gone for 2 minutes, and I've already forgot the Malefic Incantation. Malefic Incantation's broken. Yeah, with Mordred Tide. Like, let's just not pretend that Mordred Tide's doing so much heavy lifting here, And Mordred Tide on its own also can't be doing much without Malefic. It's pieces, right? Yeah, I know what you mean. Right, let's move over to your bit, Rob. Your topic.
Yeah, so I was struggling to think of a topic, and Hamish was like, "What's something that lights a fire under you," sort of thing, and mine is like, as I mentioned earlier, I don't. I'm curious what Dylan thinks of this, because I know Dylan likes Alden, but I just really don't think fatigue is a good thing for the game.
Okay.
I don't think it's a good thing for players to like try and approach. I don't think it's a good thing, certainly for audiences. Like, so many people I've seen in the chat are like, "Oh, this is so boring," and all them sort of comments. And like I said earlier, when you see cards get banned, it's not because I think Chrono Siege is the only one that I can actually think of that's like actually like defensive tool that's been banned.
But that card is ludicrous at the same time.
Yeah. I guess you could say maybe Drone is a good thing because that's like a fatigue sort of a card as well, right?
Yeah.
Also, Weisenloft as well.
Is that the Earth Ice one?
Yeah.
Is that banned?
That banned?
No, it's not banned. That's in Yarl.
No, it was banned when Oldham was around because he would dual react with just the one thing.
Yeah, but
and then he was
that's
like double
Oldham
thieving.
was causing a problem, not that card. That card's actual text was
Yeah,
like nothing. It's just because Oldham went right. I do a double thing. That's just dumb. Yeah. Anyway.
I guess they banned County Blessings Blue. I'll give them that. I mean, that's a whole other kind of worms. That's why they printed that card at all.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fatigue bad. Okay, Dylan, go on.
yeah, I agree. I think there's fatigue by sitting there and just playing solitaire, and then there's like fatigue by aggression, which is what I like. Like when I played Oldham, I loved cards like Endless Winter because it kind of stumps their turn, and then you try to get tempo that way, and then you run them out of cards in deck by forcing the block. You get them low, some pummel, command and conquer. Like that's a really cool way to play fatigue, and then you have decks like new as well, which can kind of pivot into a fatigue plan. I think just like I hate count your blessings. Like I think when you get like normal new is really cool, and then I see count your blessings new, and like I'm just not interested. But I do think there's entertaining stream games. Like I think it was Antwerp. There was there was Alexi that was on like 40 health the whole game, and Pablo like beats it with 4 cards left in deck. But it was like every blocking decision was super like precise, like Tunic Crown at very specific times, like pitching this card, and then it gets back to second cycle. Like it can be cool from a viewer's perspective to see like can you topple the Titan,
Mm.
but like I don't know. When I watched like CYB Enigma Worlds, I just wasn't. I didn't care.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny because you were in Worlds, Rob, and you were playing a fatigue Enigma matchup. Now, I don't know if he was deliberately fatiguing you, but he did. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I mean, he was playing 9 County Blessings, so yeah, that's full on his strategy. I mean, like I fully agree with Dylan as well. Like I remember when I used to play against Alden with Fi. I used to play Fi quite a lot when it was when it was in vogue, I suppose.
Yeah.
And I remember playing against Alden. Thinking, God, why is this going to go? And then if they go, yeah, take 7, and then on their turn they sling them back with a endless winter. I enjoyed them games. Like them games are fun. Where we're both doing, because I feel like it's more in the spirit of the game. Like the spirit of the game to me is that 2 characters are going to fight in some fashion, be it a wizard or whatever. And to me, I don't feel like one guy sitting there basically in the fetal position, like going, "You're not going to get me. You're not going to kill me," and then you're gonna you're just going to run out of breath at some point, and I'm just going to come poke you to death, like or whatever the analogy is for fatigue decks, like the Enigma one.
Yeah.
But like the olden one of like I'm going to be a really tanky guy, and then I'm going to set up this massive big turn where I'm going to do something really big to like knock you over sort of thing. Like that makes sense thematically to me, and I think they make for good games and good watching as well. But yeah, just I feel like any sort of time where we can see people who just do nothing but block, then it's just not fun for anybody. I don't think. I mean, they always think they're so clever as well. Like I know I'm not going to name names, but
I mean, look at these guys blocking all day long.
Yeah, they think they're so. Oh, like I've made this deck, and it's really. Oh, you put 3 sink below and 3 fate for sin, 3 shell. Wow, aren't you clever? Like,
right.
can't stand it.
Okay. So I am in the camp of that. I think full on fatigue is almost like in the same camp of OTK. And I'm right, Rob. Am I going to turn around and people are going to turn around and say the combo decks are in the same boat? We've just been playing a Florian combo deck where you go, okay, I'm not in this fetal position, but I'm going to just do this and do the Spirit Bomb move. Don't worry, you will die. But until then, I'm watching 9 episodes of Goku throws his hands up in the air going, ah. Is that almost the same thing of someone going, I'm blocking, but the other guy holds his hands in the air?
You think it is done?
That Florian deck in like particular, like I can respect a good Kano, but
Yeah.
whenever like I tried playing that Florian deck, like I ended up playing mid-range Florian because I just didn't enjoy that play style of I'm gonna set up the big thing and then I'm gonna send it. Like it does feel the same that you're just blocking and you have your 3 Fate Foreseen and your 3 Sink Below and your 3 Shelter, and then
Yeah,
it's
I'm
my
not.
turn. I play Read the Ruins.
Yeah, and like in the last episode, what Max is saying is that effectively the fatigue decks, the combo decks, I am going to give you full tempo throughout the entire game of this. Right, it's all yours. And my whole job is to turn around and go, can you fully utilize your 5 card hand, or Arsenal 4 cards? If you can't, like I'm going to convert this into much better value, because for old him or old fatigue ones, I'm just going to throw some damage at you. You're not going to give me your hands, and in the end, you're going to either run out, or in Florian's case, I just do the big wombo combo. I did that with Viscerai as well. That's the plan, and I think I put those both in the same sort of boat. Now, what I do like is asymmetrical games, of where like one guy has to take on another. But I only think there's only one hero in the entire game that is the best for that, and that's Chain. Because Chain is that hero that just goes, oh, I'm going to turbo go. Like, I'll banish my own deck, but you will see the most ludicrous power ever, and the other guy's just going, I am literally trying to live from this insanity that you're bringing to me, and all we're doing is going, did I die? No. Cool. Game over. So fun to maybe it's so fun to play.
Dash.io as well, yeah.
And Dash.io, yeah.
But
everyone's a fatigue deck when it comes to Dash.io. You go,
well, it's a bad thing, that though, because I played that when it was at its height, and so many decks just go, well, can't race you, so I guess I'm just going to block out. And like that as well isn't fun. I didn't find from the Dash.io perspective, because every game becomes either you can actually race me, okay, let's have a game, or you can't race me, so let's see if I can beat you just blocking out.
Yeah,
I know I played Dash.io at Worlds, and whenever I paired into a Zen, it was just kind of how many Zen states can I make, and it didn't really feel fun.
But then when we're in a heavy hitters meta, like you said, when we go, oh, okay, I block 6 and come in for 7. Like, flesh and boring. What is I? Because I also hate just seeing 2 Phi decks just go blank into each other, and then like that bores me beyond tears. The other goes, I don't block, you don't block. I guess I got better cards. I got my top 4 cards are better than yours. At least fatigue. Yeah, let's be real. 40 minutes of sheer boredom. Now, some clever clogs like Kale McGreef will turn around and go, but if you watch closely, we're basically watching 40 minutes of the pitch deck, because the actual chain link is irrelevant at this point. But watch the pitch deck, everyone, and then you see them do it. I feel like the ending is so much more satisfying to watching 2 guys duke it out at the end. That's way more like, oh, sweet, okay, cool. But
do you like
Kano
for that reason?
Do I like what?
Pitch stack Kano? Like, did you enjoy watching Kano pitch stack for the same reason?
I didn't look. I don't. I just look at Kano and just go like, I just don't care, because
it's got the end of, like, with the cards he put on the bottom, and he's done the thing, and
look, like, you're right. You're technically right, but it just feels just like what he's like. Okay, everybody, freeze.
With Kano, it feels like he goes into so many matchups with a if I pitch stack, I will automatically win kind of mentality. Whereas with fatigue, there's some like with Bravo specifically, like I love Kale. He has the funniest takes.
Oh, Kale comes in hot for sure.
He played against Liam Holden, who was playing Aurora, and Liam like pitches 2 Sigil of Suffering at one point or whatever, and then Kale like counter pitches something to like get around Arcane, and then Liam draws the 2 sigils, and apparently Kale said to him, "Oh, how are those 2 sigils in your hand?" And Liam went, Like,
He
I
just
just thought it was funny.
yeah. But no, I don't know, man. It's kind of weird. I do think the worst point. I think the most worst ones is when you got like it's seeing a polarized matchup. I think that's ultimately my biggest issue. I don't actually have an issue with a fatigue game because you just know that they're gonna just flat lose to some. You rock up with OTK Florian. It's just, bro. It's just game over, man. In fact, you actually cheer on the OTK. Go, yeah, that'll teach you, bro, for healing. But when you actually or if you just see like Syndra take it on, you're like, this is like it's just hopeless. Like, or watch Kano versus Prism. You're like, why are we watching this? This is hopeless at this point. It doesn't act that neither of them are fatiguing. It's just one side's hopeless against the other. I personally think that's what we've all got a big issue with, because when you've got a deck that can appropriately kind of have a really good, like when I watched your game, Rob, in the top 8 of Worlds, and we were just going, come on, man, set it up. Let's get the setup, bro. Let's just do the setup. And then it was like, here it comes. Whoa! Like, it's what Chain does. Like, the setup. We got the pitch stat to all of this. The banish is coming out. Whoa! Let's see if you can deal with this. And then it's kind of, that was one of the best games that I remember watching last year, because it was the asymmetrical, attacker versus defender, and the attacker has to set up because you can't just send it. The defender's got the Hadrian's Wall. Has he got the plan to get around the Hadrian's Wall? Can he? And I love all that. I think it's like some of the best bits of the game, in my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, I have heard a lot of people say like they thought I played really well and they really enjoyed me watching me play that game and stuff like that. I'll tell you two things. One, I enjoyed it a lot. Well, just flatly, I'd enjoyed it a lot more if I'd have won.
Yeah.
But I also enjoyed it a lot more if I wasn't first on and like actually had a bit of time to practice. That's the whole hoping I could practice the matchup a little bit. And they were like, "Oh, you're on first, by the way. I'll see you in 10 minutes." I'm like, "Oh, awesome."
Oh, right. Well, yeah. But it was actually very, very and it was in contrast to the final where hats off to, I can't remember her name.
Mercy.
Yeah, hats off. Honestly, getting to the semi-final, sick. You know what I mean? When it's got no shade to either, but objectively, just the viewership of me watching how that game panned out, I was sitting there going, and I'm not saying it did help that I knew you as a friend, but it's almost like the quarterfinals of a World Cup. It was the nail biter, but the finals was just a complete 7-0. It was done. It's it was the finals. It's finals blow, but you should have saw that quarterfinal game from Spain versus Germany. It was nail bitingly close. 3-3 got to all this. That's how it felt like. And it's only because you've got two decks that have got this strategy to sort of take each other on and do that. And Fatigue can deliver that, rather than just going, two sides do the exact same thing, run into each other, or do nothing. It's So I think it's good that they got some decks that can lean into the offensive options. It's just that I think the meta has to be kind of right. And most of the time I do agree it's not. It's mostly just not. And then the stars aligned, and I think that's when Flesh and Blood is at, yes, we're cheering from the rooftops about how awesome this all is, I think. So yeah, that's my take. Yeah. That's my take from it all. And I had a topic as well about Armoury Decks. Bam. Right. Okay. So I think Armoury Decks are some of the best things that they've done, and I wanted to know really what you guys thought of them, and should they really just treat Armoury Decks as things to help prop up heroes that are not doing very well, which is you could argue to say that they are, or they should probably stop printing Armoury Decks from heroes coming out of sets that are clearly pretty good. And I think KO, let's be real, KO was that was a close call. That could have just done exactly what Aurora did, right? Because he was hot. Here's an Armoury deck. Everyone went, why? This is so unnecessary. He's already very good. And again with Aurora, it's like, what's going on? Like Bolton, Max, and did Azalea get? Yeah, Azalea got one. Did she actually get anything from that?
No, it was a Riptide Armoury deck in disguise.
Oh, well, yeah. Do you know what I mean? And my favorite thing is I love to see. I think they should just utilize just putting new heroes out in it. Yao was sick. Weirdly enough, Gravy Bones is also, I'm feeling equally sick. But yeah, that's my sort of take. I don't know what your thoughts are. I wanted to get your take on it, Rob, on Armoury decks. Good, bad. What do you think that could be done to be improved?
I think you're right in saying it's dangerous to do heroes where they don't know what's going to happen with them, because clearly they knew they were doing an Armoury deck for Aurora before Rosetta came out. Like, that was in the pipeline. They were like, we're going to drop in Rosetta, we're going to do this First Strike deck, and we'll do an Armoury deck, and that'll be like a new. And then they're like, oh my god, this deck is accidentally amazing.
But I don't think it's an accident. Surely they knew.
I don't know if they did, because I feel like it's
maybe not. Yeah,
it should clearly be really. They should be really, really careful with Rune Blades, because Rune Blades have just been the best thing ever. They'd have
to deliberately make it so bad called Vincent. Like, they have to put hero ability that negatively affects you. That's how to stop it.
I think what you said was right. Focus on the heroes that are struggling, like doing the Bolton one, yeah, crack on. Doing basically the Riptide one, yeah, get on with it. Like, bring out a Betsy one, Tekla-Vossen, all these other ones.
Olympia, Arachne Huntsman, yeah.
If they bring out one that makes Tekla-Vossen broken, who cares? Like, great, like, get him played and stuff like that. But a deck that might and probably will be good already, yeah, maybe that's not the best approach.
Yeah. But I think, sorry, Dylan, have you got anything that you wanted to throw in on that?
Yeah, I'm not a fan of like the established hero ones, but I do like the kind of the Jarl you're starting from the start of the kind of hero. Like, I think going back to the Living Legend system, like, people were jumping into that Aurora deck when Aurora was already on 500 points, and same with KO, same with even the Azalea one. And I feel like, especially the times that they've come out haven't been the best, like the Aurora one being right before Pro Tour, the Dash.io one being right before Worlds, and then that led to the OTK Dash archetype. And then that kind of snowballed into High Octane getting banned, which, I don't know, it kind of takes away from that Worlds a bit for me, because it's kind of like, here's the surprise factor, and then you're never going to see it again. Like, I think that was the best deck that was legal for the least amount of time. Because, like, I personally believe that combo deck was... I tested with Sam for that event, and we were like, this is the best deck. And 3 of us brought that list, and then the next day it was banned, and we were all kind of like... We like practiced that in secret for months, and kind of felt thrown off by one product.
Yeah, that one... I do admit, maybe that one was a bit weird, but I think it's better to fall on the sword for a Pro Tour than it is than falling on the sword of, your product's gone. Like Aurora and Dash.io is like this is the exact example of, hey, here is an Armoury deck that comes out with some pretty mad stuff. But we don't want this Armoury deck to die, so we're going to let the players for this Pro Tour event take it on the chin for this one. But don't worry, no one will care when the event's done. But the Armoury deck lives. Now Aurora is, right, here's the Armoury deck, but let's just leave it. Oh no, we don't want to annoy the people who are doing very well. Well, that's not the reason why, but you know what I mean. We don't address the elephant in the room. All right, now the Aurora deck is the casualty of this decision, and we all just turned around and went, "That's really bad." Sorry, Dylan, and that you had patches for months and didn't work. It kind of sucked for you to go to that event, but in months and a year's time, that's nothing compared to the fact that imagine that Armoury deck killed the Armoury deck. Just seems silly, right? The Armoury deck kills the Armoury deck. My sort of favourite take on this is that, yeah, let's be real. Dash.io had Mechanologist cards in the back catalogue. You know, this hero comes out, we've got cards established already. It's good. We don't need to add more to this. We have a Lightning Runeblade before it was Briar, right? There's lots of old cards. There's lots of old stuff. Here's a set of Rosetta. You've just jacked up a Lightning Runeblade. We all saw how mad Briar was. It's basically Briar. Bit different, but do you know what I mean? Why do we need to put I know why they need to do an Armoury deck, because they just randomly, don't know why they wanted to onboard a Lightning Runeblade, but they chose the Lightning Runeblade. And I love the idea. It was just, why Aurora? Why was Aurora the onboard hero of your choosing? Couldn't have been Ira. You know what I mean? Ira's a pretty from OG onboard hero, and you're doing it. I actually think the Ira Armoury deck is like, this is sick. I also like the Necromancer one as well. Do you know why I like it? Because we've got two classes. How on earth are we going to pump out the support for a Necromancer and a Pirate class? But just one set? Nope. Here we go. Armoury deck. I'm so happy they just didn't pump one up for a Ranger and a Mechanologist, which has a back catalogue as long as my arm of crazy dumb stuff. And if they just brought out an Armoury deck with some strong stuff on it, do you know what I mean? Everyone's already saying that Marlin looks really strong. It does not need an Armoury deck, man. Gravy Bones, on the other hand, bro, that guy needs cards. All he's got is what's in the set. That's it, you know.
Prism, when she came out in Monarch, she had like Genesis ALS, Merciful, all the Heralds.
Oh yeah, one set, but they were busted. She had Luminaris.
It helped that like she played so many of her draft commons, right? Like,
yeah,
all of the Herald, like 9 Herald of Protection and Wartune Herald and all that sort of stuff. Like, you've literally half your deck is Heralds, isn't it? In like any given matchup.
Monarch was so cooked. It was unreal that they just also brought out Chain. You go, yeah, but there was a Runeblade before. It's like, bro, no one cares about these cards, man. Play from the Vanish. Go. Just if all the cards are just cracked, doesn't really matter. So maybe that's what they're going to do with Necromancer. Just make him broken, right? You know, broken from day one. I was thinking
maybe the reason why they're doing the Armoury deck as well is maybe there's some cards that they, like you say, he needs more cards to be viable, and they want it to be viable. But also, maybe there's some cards that they don't want to be in the limited format, which get put in the Armoury deck instead.
Yeah. I think they just got to be a lot more like. I think they're just in this moment. I think the Armoury decks just need to be a little bit more thought through. Now, don't get me wrong. This isn't a dig. I know you guys. I know that LSS is really thinking this through. It'd be kind of disingenuous to say that they're not. I do think we're on a bit of a testing curve. You know, throw shit at the wall, see what sticks. Like, let's just put these guys out. What works? Does putting out KOs and Auroras kind of feel, and Dash.ios feel good? Well, garbage heroes. You know what I mean? And then Yarl, yay! Okay, that's going down well. Yarl's good, and then we'll just see what happens with Graven Bones when it comes out. So, yeah. And then I'll end it on, I don't know what Viscerai and Prism's doing. Oh,
Dylan's putting a light on it.
That's okay. But now, yeah, is Dylan putting a light on? Dun, 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 dun. He's no longer Batman in the cave.
I was like, when it was in my head, I was like, when do I run over? And
I was sitting there waiting for Dylan to just be. I'm still rolling. This.
No. I opened my blinds like half an hour ago. I was like, oh yeah, there's the light, and then the sun started going
down. The last little niggle, the Viscerai Prism Armoury deck. I got cross. I stood up and went, yay, Viscerai, and kind of just went, yay, Viscerai. And then I went, huh? What are you doing? What am I cheering for?
Like, that's a convention exclusive. I think that's just kind of to collectors.
What? I don't get it. What's the point? What waste of money?
Well, isn't the point like LL format coming soon? Like actually, maybe like an LL Proto.
Oh, cool. Get your Living Legend Armoury Decks now. Only at one event in America.
San Diego Comic-Con.
Well, they spent lots of money on this. They made a box. They made cards. They put it in a box.
I bet they'll eventually come out, because if they want LL to be a thing, which it seems like they do, because there's so many heroes in LL now, you can't have some cards that are just available in that one thing. And like some of them cards are pretty good. Like the Prism headpiece is.
Yeah, but yeah. And then what's the Runeblade one? Isn't it just?
Oh, it's just Battle Worn 2.
Oh, is it basically Skullcap?
It's tempered too.
It's Skullcap.
That's so.
Oh, it's worse than Skullcap.
Well, it's not, because Skullcap can only be good if you got less health. At least we're good. Day zero.
Yeah, but Skullcap has conditional AV3, which was.
Oh yeah, we all use that. Yeah, it was ludicrous.
It's so dull, that, isn't it? Like the Prism one is like got this cool ability. It sort of reminds me of, I like ragging on Enchanted Quiver. Card with the most. It's the quiver that you can.
Instant Spell Void one.
Oh, the new one. All right, yeah.
It's the worst name in the
Crow's Nest is cool, but
it's just the worst card name in Flesh and Blood, in my opinion, because it is the most uninspired enchanted quiver. Like it's like Sharp Sword, Magic Hammer,
Heavy Hammer,
like large shield, like.
Although the funniest one is Rock, but we love Rock.
Well, Rock's cool because
but it's a rock.
Especially because like the card type is actually a quiver as well, so it's literally it's actually they've only thought of one word, and it was enchanted. Like it could be magic quiver.
Can we have a bonus mode? Let's have a bonus mode? Naming conventions. Oh, don't get me started. Do you want to see what the worst card name they've ever printed? Olympia. I'm going to. Don't get me started on the names.
What's wrong with that?
It is so uninspiring. It's unreal. You think Enchanted Quiver is really bad? I'm gonna give you that. Everyone, we're just gonna be three white dudes moan. Right. Welcome to Three White Dudes Moan. No, the naming conventions are hideous. I can kind of get away with Enchanted Quiver, even though it's really, really bad, because it's almost just like an item you find on the floor and you go, all right, sure, who cares, right? What's your character's name? I am Olympia that plays in Olympic tournaments. My mum and dad called me Olympia. I'm like,
the other one.
If you say so, bro.
The opposite of Enchanted Quiver is Enigma. Can either of you tell me what Enigma's weapon is?
What?
Cosmo.
Keep going.
Ancestral Scroll?
Scroll of Ancestral Tapestry. Like it's 5 words in the name of it.
Yeah.
Like there's so many words on it, and then you've got like Enchanted Quiver and Olympia sat next to it. It's fun, and then you've got like Sacred Art, Undercurrent Desires, and stuff like that. Like some of these words that are just like so many words in the name of a card, and like what's the Levia one like?
Convulsions of the Bellows of Hell, dude. No, that card's good. That card is the most metal card ever. When I saw that, I was like, this is the best card ever, even though it's not. But I loved it.
And I'm pretty sure there's a dagger that was in Heavy Hitters that's like Sharp Sword or something. There's something that's like Sharp Sword. I can't remember what it is.
Is it the one you can block with?
Parry Blade.
Yeah, there you go. Parry. Which I don't know.
Yeah, that's you kind of go, yeah, whatever. But it's only because it's such a throwaway. Like I just feel like there's like the thing for me is just the names of the heroes. Like so do you know what the best name in the game is? Drinthia. Do you know why? Because it's a name. Because it's a name. It is a name. No one is called, I don't know, the Milkman.
Victor.
Victor. All right. I mean, we can get with that. We can, but it's kind of like that's fine. But Dorinthia, and then you go, oh, okay. So what does that mean? Well, it's James White's mum in the thing, but it's a name, and we and do you know what also is amazing? We as the community call her Dory. Like, and I think that for example, you could have had like, for example, Olympia. It could have been, I don't know, Rictus, brackets Olympia, something surname, right? And let the world, or let us as the community of the world, create the nickname, right? People call me Ham. Imagine if I made a card name and they'll go, who's this? Ham. Right. Why? This guy attacks with Ham. No, it's not. Like, my name's Hamish. This is my surnames, right? The community calls me this because here's my story, and and this is what it's come to. Whereas Olympia is like, no, bro, that's your name. You were born with that name, and it's not just like, do you know what I mean? It's just so much missed stuff. And Starvo, you know what? Starvo is actually the best name, cool name. Do you know why? Because he's not called Starvo. It's called Bravo's Star of the Show, but the community wanted to call him Starvo, and LSS now call him Starvo because it's just it's a community born thing.
Slippy's good for that reason.
Slippy's good for that reason.
Yeah, Slippy's great.
Mario, all that. I like it if they actually just went, yeah, you know what? We're not just going to come up with these goofy names. Just give the guys real names. And then let us call it.
In Magic, these come up with deck names that, like, a lot of the time, they would be useful for, like, describing something. Like, they would say, because in Magic, there's the colours, right? Blue, white, red, black, green.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, blue-white control. So it's like, it tells you what colours it is, it tells you what it's doing. It's playing blue cards and white cards, it's going to play control. Or mono red aggro. It's only going to play red cards, it's going to be aggressive. But then they had cards like decks that are called, like, Boat Brew.
What?
Or
hang on, Boat Brew. Okay, but I imagine your deck has got boats in it.
No, it was made on a boat I'm like, it was a tournament.
Tournament. Oh, like what's the dash deck that has no reason to be called Tree Frog George?
Yeah, because Springboard Somersault is a tree frog jumping. That's
No, I thought it was something to do with Yu-Gi-Oh. I thought there was like a tree frog deck from Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yeah, there's Treeborn Frog in Yu-Gi-Oh. No,
and it's a blocky deck.
Really.
No,
it was a Springboard Somersault jumps like a frog. So
guys like
dash.
Yeah. No, but that's the best stuff, right? Because it's rumors. We all call it, but we've all got our own sort of folklore about why. Because mine was based off of Yu-Gi-Oh! Yours is because of Springfield, somebody who looks like a frog. I was like, what? That's just crazy folklore. Who would call it that based on that? It's based on the Yu-Gi-Oh! It's got a lore. It's got a life of its
Luigi
own.
as well.
Luigi. What's this? Magic?
No, Flesh and Blood.
What? No, I've not heard this.
I heard some people calling Slippy this because if you got Mario is
Luigi. Yeah. I've seen.
I know there was Wombat Dash as well.
Wombat Dash. Is that just aggro dash?
It was the Talishar Dash, and like that name came out of nowhere because someone put like a copy pasta that like wombats are actually very aggressive during the calling final, so they started calling it Wombat Dash.
Okay, but I remember. Do you remember the Captain Planet? Do you remember Captain Planet, Rob?
Starvo, yeah.
Starvo. That was the original.
Other people called it. It was the Bravatar.
Yeah, but
just good time to find an episode on this note.
Yeah, no. I don't know where we're even going. We're talking about Armoury Decks, and now we just turned into. Yeah. But do you see? That's my point, and I love it if Flesh and Blood just didn't have to they just go, look, here's a guy with a name, and then the world, we can kind of give him a cool name. Up to you, world, if you want to take it on. Do you know what I mean? And they actually, Dorinthia was meant to be. they abbreviated her name, and LSS wanted to push her short name to Thea. Did you know that? It was meant to be Thea, but everyone turned around and went, it's Dory. Like, we just went, it's Dory. That's the shortened version, it's Dory. But in the lore, they went, Thea said this. And everyone, who the goddamn hell's Thea? And then now but the community, someone went, no, it is Dory. And that's it. And that, to me, feels so much better. And then they could probably just bake that in the lore. Arachne slipped through the cracks. And then somewhere in the lore, someone goes, but like in the lore, like some dudes in the pub who goes like, yeah, but everyone knows that they call it the Slippy. They call him Slippy, and everyone's like, and it's cool because the community on Twitter calls this guy Slippy. So somewhere in the lore, people will but wouldn't that just everyone who's reading the lore would kind of be like, yeah, it's a good nod to the community that are building the.
Well, that happens a lot with like. You ever follow like horror games, like those episodic ones that come out like every like month? They'll release like a new episode or a chapter.
I'm going to tell you now, I'm a weenie. I don't like watching or listening to horror stuff.
You'll have shows where they like tease something in like the first season or whatever, and then people will come up with like fan theories of what the name of that thing is, and then in the next season it gets revealed and like people guessed it right. It's kind of cool.
Yeah. Anyway, a waffle on. Thank you so much, guys, for your time. Thank you, everyone. I hope you listened to a little bit more of a relaxed, chilled version of Calling. Nice one for episode 10. And catch you guys on the next one. Thank you, guys.